Good afternoon. My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. Our economy has made considerable progress toward both goals over the past 2 years. The labor market has come into better balance with continued strong job gains and a low unemployment rate. Inflation has eased substantially from a peak of 7% to 2.7%, but is still too high. We are strongly committed to returning inflation to our 2% goal in support of a strong economy that benefits everyone. Projection of 2.1% this year and 2.0% over the. We've stated that we do not expect it will be appropriate to reduce the target range for the federal funds rate until we have gained greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably toward 2%. So far this year, the data have not given us that greater confidence. The most recent inflation readings have been more favorable than earlier in the year, however, and there has been modest further progress toward our inflation objective. We'll need to see more good data to bolster our confidence that inflation is moving sustainably toward 2%. We know that reducing policy restraint too soon or too much could result in a reversal of the progress that we've seen on inflation. At the same time, reducing policy restraint too late or too little could unduly weaken economic activity and employment. In considering any adjustments to the target range for the federal funds rate, the committee will carefully assess incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks.
Do you anticipate the review will consider changes to communications going forward?
Nonetheless, the overall picture is one of a strong and gradually cooling, gradually rebalancing labor market. Job openings, while they've come way down, are still greater than the number of unemployed people. The jobs workers gap is still a significantly positive number, greater than it was before the pandemic. So overall, we're looking at what is still a very strong labor market, but not the superheated labor market of 2 years ago or even 1 year ago.
To be ahead of a weakening in the labor market, otherwise is it too late, given that the labor market is a lagging indicator?
Yeah, the big thing that changed was the inflation forecast. So the inflation forecast moved up several tenths for the end of the year. And as I mentioned earlier in the, what did we take away from this? We had really good inflation data in the second half of last year, then kind of a pause in progress in the first quarter. And what we took away from that was that it's probably going to take longer to get the confidence that we need to begin to loosen policy. So the sense of that is that rate cuts that might have taken place this year, take place next year. There are fewer rate cuts in the median this year, but there's one more next year. So if you look at year-end 2025 and 26, you're almost exactly where you would have been. Just it's moved later. Give you specific numbers of things, because that points to dates, and I do. Now we have today's inflation reading, which is very different, very much more positive. We're going to have to see what the trend is, what's going to be the data going forward. We're looking for something that gives us confidence that inflation is moving sustainably down to 2%. And readings like today's, that's a step in the right direction. But
level of restrictiveness that you need, that you in fact have concluded that you weren't quite there yet?
We very much want to get back to a place where people cannot think about inflation. It's just not a concern in the everyday economic decisions that they make. We were there for a long time, and our goal is to get back to that place. And we've made good progress, and we're in the phase now of just sticking with it until we get it done, rather than just one report. But you're right to point to the last report where there were job losses in the house. But you're right though. We do see the same thing other people see, which is increasing financial pressures on more lower income people, and the best thing we can do is to foster a very strong jobs economy, which we think we have done, ultimately to get inflation under control, because those people experience inflation very directly, very painfully. And once we get inflation under control, rates can come down, which will also improve things.